Hi, welcome to my video on extra practice on the exponent rules. Extra practice. Number 1, write 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 in exponential form. So that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 5 raised to the 6th power. Express each as b to the n. So 7 is 7 to the 1. The 1 is understood to be a power of 7. And this is x to the 1. So if there's no exponent with the number, 1 is understood to be there. Simplify each with a power of 0. So we have, if we have b to the 0, b to the 0 is equal to 1, provided b is not equal to 0. So 6 to the 0 is equal to 1. We have to simplify the bracket first by PEMDAS. So 4 plus 3 is 7. So 7 to the 0 is 1. Notice that right here we have the negative of 8 to the 0. So that means we have 8 to the 0 is 1. So we have negative 1. Notice that if I had negative 8 to the 0 power with a bracket, that would have been 1. But without a bracket, this is the negative of 8 to the 0. Note the difference. Here we have to do some simplifying, so let's do the power first. So 4. 3 raised to the 0 power is 1. 2 raised to the 0 power is 1. So that's 4 divided by 1, which is 4. And we simplify each of these. Again, this review is on the exponent rules that we were doing in pre-algebra. So 1 raised to any power, any real number, is 1. So 1 to the 100 is 1. We have to do the exponent. Exponent is root 2, but we have to do the inside of this by PEMDAS. 7 minus 6 is 1. So 1 raised to the root 2, 1 raised to any power, any real number is 1. Simplify each, and here we have two options. We have a negative 1 raised to an even number. So a negative 1 raised to an even number is 1, and a negative 1 raised to an odd number, that's an odd integer, is negative 1. So negative 1 raised to the 8th power is 1, because 8 is even. Negative 1 raised to the 21 is negative 1, because it's odd. And here, let's simplify these now. Let's see, PEMDAS, we do the inside first. It's negative 1 to the 4th power. And we have to do the inside first, so there's 9 minus 8 to the 13. And we still have to simplify the inside first. So that's 1 to the 13th power. So negative 1 raised to an even power is 1. And 1 raised to an odd power is still 1, so that gives us 2. Again, I'm reviewing the exponent rules that we did earlier on in this section on pre-algebra. Number 6, simplify each. Again, when we multiply with the same bases, we add the exponents. So that's 2 add on 3 is 5. We have the same bases. We're multiplying, so we add the exponents. So that's a 1 and a 1. So 1 plus 6 plus 1 is 8. Now we can do this one two ways. We could go, the base is negative 3. So because we're multiplying these with the same bases, we add, we get a 5. So that's a negative 3 raised to the 5th power. So that's a negative 3 times a negative 3 times a negative 3 times a negative 3. And that will work out to be negative 243. Another way you could do it also, negative 3 squared is 9. And negative 3 cubed is negative 27. and you multiply that out, you get a negative 243. So there's two ways to do it. Your choice. And in here we have a half squared and a half to the fourth, so we could call that 1/2 to, because we're multiplying the same bases, we get 6. Notice I can't multiply this one with these because they're not the same bases. So we have that done. 1/2 to the 6th power is 1/2 to the 6th power. So 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 6 times. And 1 times 1 times 1 6 times is 1. 2 to the 6th power is 64. We have an 8. 8 is 8 cubed is 8 times 8 times 8, which is 512. And 64 will go into 512 8 times. So that gives us an 8. There's another way to do it, but that would be the easier way. We could also raise to a power of a power, but that rule is down here. So I just work these out individually. Now, when we multiply, again, x to the n times x to the m is the base is x, so we add the exponents. When we're multiplying like bases, multiplying exponentials with like bases, we add. And this is the same right here, only we got x to the n divided by x to the m. Because we're dividing like bases, we subtract the exponents. So this is x to the 10 minus 6, because we're dividing, is x to the 4. And right here, we're dividing, so that's a 11 minus 6. So that's, because we're dividing, 11 minus 6 is a to the 5. C. It's best when you work these out to simplify the numerator and simplify the denominator. They're all b's. Because we're multiplying, we'll add. 8 plus 2 is 10. That's a 1 understood there. Because we're multiplying, we'll add. And now, we can, because we're dividing, we can subtract. So that gives us b to the 5. And here we're same basis. There's a y and a y and a y, so we have a y. Because we're dividing, we can subtract the 4. Because we're dividing, we can subtract the 6. So that's y. That's an 8 minus 6, so that becomes 2. And another one, this is a power of a power. So x to the m raised to the m power is a power of a power. When we have a power of a power, we multiply m and n. So this is 3 raised, x cubed raised to the 4th power is x cubed times x. So you could go, the long way would be to do this 4 times. Whoops. And because we're multiplying, we add, we get a 12. But the shortcut is, because we have a power of a power, instead of writing this down 4 times and then adding up all the 3's, we just go 4 times 3 is 12. And right here we have 2 separate ones, but let's work this one first. Power of a power, 5 times 2 is 10. And we got y cubed raised to the 4th power, so that's 3 times 4 is 12. And because we're multiplying, we add, so 10 plus 12 is 22. When you multiply exponentials with the same basis, you add the exponents. Now, we have one here, so we have all b's, so let's work out the powers first. So we have a b, and this is b to the 6 squared, so that's b to the 12. This is b squared cubed, so that's 2 times 3 is 6. We have a power here, so that's power of a power, so 3 times 4 is 12. So I got rid of the exponents first. Now, because we're multiplying, we'll add 1 plus 12 plus 6, that's a 19. The denominator, 12 plus 5 is 17. And because we're dividing, we subtract. So 19 subtract 17 is b squared. Again, when you're dividing like bases, you subtract. When you're multiplying like bases, you add. And now we have a power of a double, power of a power still. So we have, this is a multiplication, so it's 2 times 4 is 8, and 3 times 4 is 12. Instead of a single one, we have a double one, but you still do 4 times 2, 4 times 3. And right here, we do each of these separately first, so that's A, that's a 1. 1 times 3 is 3. B, 4 times 3 is 12 times. This is a power of power, so 3 times 4 is 12. That's a 1 understood. So 1 times 4 is 4. Now we group the A's together. So that's A. Because we're multiplying, we add. 3 plus 12 is 15. B, and we got a 12 plus 4 is 16. And C, again, power of power. But let's simplify the numerator first, then the denominator. Power of power, so we get x to the 24. Y, 2 times 6 is 12. And that's a 1, so 3 times 1 is 3. And 3 times 3 is 9, because they're power of a power. Now we have, let's simplify the x's, so that's x to the 24 minus 3, and y to the 12 minus 9. So that gives us 21 and a 3. So you do the power of a power first, and then you, because you're dividing, you subtract. Number 10, simplify each. And again, we have fractions, but it makes no difference. We still do a power of a power. So this is 2 to the 8th, we multiply, and y to the 12. Power of a power. So 2 times 4 is 8, 3 times 4 is 12. And you can't simplify it, you can't divide these out to make it simpler because they're not like bases. So let's do this one. Let's do the exponents first. Power of a power, a to the 6 times 2 is 12. That's a 1. So 1 times 2 is 2. That's understood to be multiplication. B, power of a power, is a 6. And A is 3 times 3 is 9. Now, because we have a top and bottom, we could combine these and do this, A to the 12, B to the 6, and that's A to the 9, B to the 12. So I'm grouping the A's and B's above and below each other. And again, we're going to subtract here because we're dividing. So that's A to the 12 minus 9 is 3. And if I do it the other way, if I bring that up, I'll get a minus. So I can leave it down here if I want. There's more B's. So that's B 12 minus 6 is 6. So I can leave it like that. And that little mark, let's take that little mark out of it so it won't confuse you. Use my marker again very quickly. Done. Gone. So rather than have negative exponents, I could have bought this one up here. It says 6 minus 12, which would have been b to the negative 6. And that would be okay, but normally they don't want negative exponents. Number 11. Express x to the negative 2 without negative exponents. So a negative exponent will be 1 over x squared. So the negative exponent makes it reciprocal. So x squared, this is negative, so it's 1 over that positive exponent. Simplify each with no negative exponents. So there's a couple of ways to do it. First of all, you can do this. Because we're multiplying, we add. 6 add on negative 2 is 4. That's one way to do it. Another way, you would say x to the 6 times x to the negative 2 is 1 over x squared. And notice that this is x to the 6 divided by x squared. And because we're dividing, we subtract. So the faster way would be to add these together and you get the 4. But remember, x to the negative 2 is 1 over x squared. And right here we have all negative exponents, so I can do this two ways. Faster way is the base is y, and we got a negative 3 divided by, we got y to the negative 3 divided by y to the negative 5. So that's a negative 3. Division up, when you're dividing, you subtract the exponents. So we have negative 3 subtract negative 5. So that's negative 3 plus 5. So that's y squared. That's one way to do it. We could make it more complicated and rewrite them as fractions. We could go 1 over y cubed divided by 1 over y to the 5. So that's 1 over y cubed times divide. You multiply by the reciprocal, so it's y to the 5 over y cubed. Oops, sorry, over 1. I'm going to get y cubed. I was thinking about this one then. So this is reciprocal. Divide, you multiply by the reciprocal, is y to the 5 over 1. So that becomes y to the 5 over y cubed, which is 5 minus 3 is 2. So this is the faster way. This is another way. Again, like bases, you're dividing, so you subtract. So I roll it down. Double negative is a positive. This is the faster way. And one more to do. Let's see. We got power of a power, so that's x. Negative 4 times negative 2 is 8 times. And this is power of a power again. So you multiply, you get negative 12. And we want no negative exponents. So this is x. When you multiply, you add. So 8 add on negative 12 is negative 4. And x to the negative 4 is 1 over x to the 4. So that's some review of exponents. Again, to help you understand. And I just decided to do all of my units again. I'm going through the units. I already got them done, but I'm going through again now, doing a review on each of my units just to help you out. And again, if you like my video, click on the like button, click on the subscribe button, visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. That's the content on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained, just one word. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video helped you. Bye-bye.